The year 2007 was a far different time. It was the last year of that time period between 9/11 and the recession that started to hit that year, and by the next year was in full swing. It was the end of a time period marked by flip phones, iPods, oversized SUVs such as the Hummer and Ford Excursion, retro-inspired cars such as the PT Cruiser, the Iraq War, George Bush, and Windows XP. It was a time when the great big political discussions in America were pulling troops out, global warming, and when people would have thought the idea of 71 genders was some absurd joke nobody got. It's when emojis were called smileys and used in instant messaging programs with teenagers using abbreviations in text messages instead. It's when grown men watching cartoons was seen as something that only complete failures at life would do, and when it didn't seem like every other person on the internet was a furry. Apple announced and released the iPhone, a smartphone targeted to the same people who bought iPods, Nextels, and Motorola Razrs, and even when it was still extremely expensive and lacked 3G, it became the smartphone every company tried to emulate. MySpace started tumbling down, Tumblr was founded, and Facebook and Reddit started to become big. The Big Bang Theory started airing on TV. YouTube was growing rapidly, and it had been purchased by Google the previous year after Google Video was a failure. Windows Vista came out. In gaming, though, numerous influential games came out to the point where years later, 2007, would be called one of the best years in gaming. Series were started, new installments and franchises came out to critical acclaim, and influential games were released. Some major mergers happened that year, with Activision announcing they were merging with Vivendi, owners of Blizzard, and EA purchasing BioWare. Not everything about 2007 was all sunshine and roses, however. Nintendo was making a sales comeback. However, it was from selling a rushed, underpowered console that relied on a gimmick to casual gamers who only bought Nintendo branded games and casual games. It was a massive sales success. Everyone was buying it, and stores were sold out for a long period of time. Everywhere from daycare centers to summer camps to even schools were buying the Wii, and solely to use with a handful of games like Wii Sports and Guitar Hero. Due to this, Wii software sales were horrible, and the Wii was discontinued before the 360 and PS3 were. If anything, though, it brought lots of casuals and kids into gaming, and it was the precursor to mobile gaming. Despite this, it was a time before PC and non-Nintendo console games would become influenced by mobile phone games and Let's Play channels on YouTube, and quite frankly, you could argue 2007 was either the last good year or the year that set the stage for millennials, or Generation Me, or as I like to call it, Generation Snowflake. One of the games released that year was Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. It was a game that had a huge impact. For years and years, developers and PlayStation owners were hoping for a Halo killer, a non-Microsoft game that would become the biggest shooter and be available on more than just the Xbox. Call of Duty 4 was this game. It had a polished cinematic single player inspired by war movies, but what really kept the game in people's minds was the multiplayer. You see, the multiplayer in Call of Duty 4 added a few features that changed everything. The game featured a role-playing game influenced ranking system that allowed you to level up your player, and you could create your own classes using weapons you unlocked, choosing to spawn with these weapons. Kill streaks were rewards for getting several kills in a row, and let you use a helicopter, summon an airstrike, or use a UAV to let your team see other players on the map. It also popularized the style of gameplay previous Call of Duty titles had used as well, with aiming outside style gunplay and sprinting. The game was a success, selling millions and millions and making Call of Duty a household name. However, in recent years, the Call of Duty franchise has sputtered out, with Black Ops 2 meeting initial resistance from players, and Advanced Warfare being criticized for being too different. Infinity Ward has also run their reputation into the ground with mediocre titles and a high-profile employee defection after Modern Warfare 2 was released. Black Ops 3 was a letdown for many as well, and Infinite Warfare was being dislike-bombed on YouTube from day one. Since these events, Call of Duty 4 has risen to a near-mythical status, being treated by Call of Duty gamers online as the greatest game ever made based solely on memories of it, and second-hand memories of it gained from watching YouTubers and commenters online gushing over it. If there is anything gaming companies have learned in the past 10 years with the rise of indie games, remakes, ports, and media that milks nostalgia for the past, it's that nostalgia sells. Call of Duty 4 was where many people started playing Call of Duty, and due to its praise from people who haven't played it in years, it's reached a near mythical status among online gamers. Since it's apparently hard for a typical Call of Duty player to play Call of Duty 4 in 2016, it's no wonder that Modern Warfare Remastered got tons and tons of hype, completely overshadowing Infinite Warfare. However, Activision didn't want gamers to wise up and purchase only their remake. So instead, as of now, you can only get Modern Warfare Remastered with the $80 version of Infinite Warfare, which went on sale over the last weekend for $60. Is it any good, however? Let's find out. Modern Warfare Remastered is, well, what it says on the box. It's Modern Warfare, but remastered. The remake of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is developed by Raven Software, who at one point was well known for making fun shooters like Heretic and Hexen, but they haven't worked on a game without the words Call of Duty in the title since 2010 Singularity. Ever since the game came out, Raven Software has for the most part worked on main Call of Duty titles while also developing a free-to-play Chinese Call of Duty spinoff called Call of Duty Online. So let's first talk about what's similar to Call of Duty 4 from 2007. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered has both a single player and a multiplayer, and for this video I'm going to focus on the multiplayer, since chances are that's what people are so excited for. After all, I haven't even touched the single player and I already know how it's going to be. It's going to be Call of Duty 4 single player with redone graphics and new sound effects. The multiplayer of Modern Warfare Remastered features near identical gameplay to Call of Duty 4 from 2007. It features the same guns, 10 of the original maps including shipment, and the only explosive grenades are frag grenades. There are only 3 kill streaks. The UAV you get at 3 kills, the airstrike at 5, and the helicopter at 7. You can only shoot helicopters out of the air. There's no weapon variants, and perk 1 had to do with carrying ammo and equipment, and it has to be forfeited if you use a grenade launcher. There's no death streaks, overpowered high-value kill streaks like the nuke, and simply equipping Juggernaut and Martyrdom will make some nerd rage hard instead. So now let's talk about what is different in Modern Warfare Remastered compared to the original. The graphics have obviously been overhauled, and while they're not as good as, say, Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, or even Ghosts, they look much better than the original game. I think the best way of describing the graphics is that they look kind of like the Halo 1 remaster. They look great, but they also have that kind of clay look to them that was common in 360 games. The sound effects have also been overhauled, and many of the sound effects for everything from the grenade launcher to the helicopter to airstrikes to grenades have been replaced with new ones, similar to the Halo remakes as well. There is no option to toggle between the old and the new sound effects, so it'll take some time to get used to these new sounds. The netcode in Modern Warfare Remastered is a complete joke compared to the original. The netcode in CoD4 was similar to that of, say, the Quake series and other games on the Quake engine and variants such as the Source engine. Lag is very noticeable, hit markers were accurate, and when you shot someone you could tell it registered. When you're on a 3-bar connection the game is still playable, and even on a 1 or 2-bar connection you could spot the lag easily. Now sure, it wasn't perfect, and it had some major flaws. Notably when there was lots of lag in a match, or worse, when the host backed out. You'd be playing a game and all of a sudden the message, host end a game, would pop up on the screen, and sometimes when the match began it would pop up. Modern Warfare 2 introduced host migrations, and next-gen Call of Duty titles allegedly run on dedicated servers. Despite this, I've seen host migration messages appear, and I've still seen lag in lobbies and titles that supposedly use dedicated servers. However, in Modern Warfare Remastered, the game uses the same notorious netcode that was used in Ghosts, Infinite Warfare, and Black Ops 3. You know, the netcode where you'll die the second you see an enemy, you'll look at your kill cam, and you'll see that they were in some other dimension when they were already aiming down their sights and ready to fire at you as you didn't even fire a shot, or maybe 1 or 2 shots at most. To make matters worse, any kind of ping counter is gone. There is no connection graph, ping counter, or even a set of ping bars. The only other main Call of Duty title I know that lacked these features was Call of Duty Ghosts. Modern Warfare Remastered also introduces some new gameplay tweaks. For example, now points being captured change color, similar to Advanced Warfare, to let you know that they're being taken. Helicopters no longer add kills to your kill streak counter. However, a big gameplay change is in Domination, as there are now halftime similar to Call of Duty titles after Black Ops 2, where you switch sides and the points reset. This does mean that the second half can start with helicopters being deployed, and unlike Modern Warfare 2 and newer, you can't use a lock-on rocket launcher. There are now also medals and experience bonuses from them, and the EXP system functions similar to newer pre-score streak Call of Duty titles. You'll get lots of experience from capturing points, UAV assists, and more. Modern Warfare Remastered brings back Advanced Warfare's firing range, and while you can only fire from one spot, it allows you to try out guns on targets to see how powerful they would be on an ideal connection. Now let's talk about the PC version in particular. Now, the PC version of Call of Duty 4 and the next Treyarch game, World at War, are seen by players as the last popular versions of Call of Duty on the PC. Modern Warfare 2 was highly controversial on the PC, and for a pretty good reason. It was a major step back feature-wise. It featured a lower player count, no dedicated servers, no mod support, no lean. DLC now cost money, LAN mode was missing from the PC version, and most importantly, the price of the game was raised to $60 at a time when PC games are still sold for $50, despite the PC lacking platform owner fees like with consoles. This was met with outrage from the PC community, as many avoided Modern Warfare 2 and newer titles, and titles after Modern Warfare 2 have been hit or miss on the PC. Some will be good ports but lack mods in a server browser. Some will be console ports that at least run well. Some will have plenty of features but run poorly on most computers. And others will be pretty bad ports in general, with poor performance and no features whatsoever. To sour relations between Activision and the PC community even more, Activision is well known for shutting down modding projects for Call of Duty titles, such as dedicated servers, either directly through legal action or indirectly through crippling the game's code via patches, and likely attempts to also stop console cheaters as well. Some minor features have been removed from Call of Duty on the PC as well via these patches, such as when Black Ops 2 came out with colors in your username still working via caret, similar to Quake and other Call of Duty titles. And then that feature was removed via a patch in Black Ops 2 and I think Modern Warfare 3 as well. However, Modern Warfare 2 on the PC still lets you do this. Due to these factors, along with some of the same factors as on the console coming into play on the PC, such as the changes in the series, PC Call of Duty has lost players. It's also failed to attract new ones due to its high entry cost, the ability to run on the Acer laptop mommy bot, the inability for pirated copies to play online, and of course the fact that refugees from Nintendo platforms are already programmed to hate Call of Duty and only play family-friendly games or games for kids or games that kids love to play like Minecraft, Undertale, and Five Nights. Modern Warfare Remastered on the PC is a bad port. Anti-cheat as of right now is not implemented, and the only thing keeping hackers down is the high entry cost. The game runs horribly, and I mean it runs so bad, it's like playing Call of Duty 4 on an old Dell laptop with Intel graphics or the Nintendo Wii. And this is on high-end computers too. This is in contrast to Call of Duty 4, which would run on nearly anything. This is probably the most glaring flaw because people with setups far pricier than mine are reporting performance issues. Leaning is present, however there is lots and lots of lag compared to the original title, and ping counters are still missing. There is also no mod support, and the game uses matchmaking, which wouldn't have been as much of a problem had the player base on the PC version been bigger. One new feature on the PC version is controller support, which has been included in the series since at least Black Ops 2. When you connect the controller similar to Advanced Warfare, you'll be asked if you want to use the controller, and you can even use aim assist. This might come in handy on devices like the GPD Win, which have built-in controllers. However, the game is so badly optimized, I'd be shocked if it ran on there at all. Honestly, on the PC, what else can I say? Avoid it. Even if it gets fixed, the player base is still going to be small, due to the reasons I mentioned. So why is this game getting so much praise with relatively little criticism? Personally, I think the reason this game is praised so much is because right now Modern Warfare Remastered is some kind of elite club. You need to buy a special edition of Infinite Warfare to even get in, and this limits appeal of it to die-hard fans who are willing to plunk down full price to get in on the action. And it also limits appeal to those waiting for a standalone release. Chances are many were the people who bought Call of Duty yearly, and chances are many, despite praising Call of Duty 4, didn't actually go back and play Call of Duty 4, preferring to buy a remastered version either out of laziness or because they traded in their 360 for $15 at GameStop. I also believe that much of the praise from this version comes from those who never originally played Call of Duty 4 at any point in time. However, playing the game you remembered isn't so hard, and in fact, I have a simple tutorial already made so you can get in on the action easily, so let's begin. Step 1 is that you need to turn on your Xbox 360. If you sold yours for 15 bucks at GameStop, you can get one for 50 bucks at a pawn shop, but chances are you still have one lying around in the house somewhere. Step 2 is to sign into your Xbox Live account. Step 3 is you need to insert your Call of Duty 4 disc into the tray and push the eject button to close the tray. If you sold that too, it's also only a few bucks at GameStop or Amazon. Step 4 is to select Call of Duty 4 on the Xbox 360 dashboard and load up the game. Then look at the cell phone and look at what the current date and time is, so you can tell yourself you're playing Call of Duty 4 in the current year. Now sure, some smart-ass teenager is probably going to scream at me saying that it has lots of hackers, or in their words, dude, all the games are modded, or even shorter, dude, the game's modded. The thing is, that's why I mentioned the 360 version. The 360 version has the fewest hackers of the three versions, especially considering Microsoft goes out of their way the most to ban hackers. It also features a vanilla experience compared to the modded servers on the PC version. Did I mention that all this gameplay footage of the 360 version of Call of Duty 4 I recorded today? The other reason this game is getting so much praise as well, like I mentioned, the audience for this game isn't the kind of audience that will happily play older games on a 360. Instead, they will have to get the newest title of the series for the Xbox One or PS4. They're the kind of person that will talk about how much they miss some older game and will wait for a big publisher to release a remake or remaster it instead of just putting the disc in already. Now sure, I'm not completely against remasters, ports, re-releases, and whatnot. For example, look at Chrono Trigger. It's a 1995 Super Nintendo game from Squaresoft that was widely considered one of the best games on the console and on the system. There's one problem with it though, however. It has an insanely high resale value going for about $100 used. Now, honestly, not everyone's going to pay $100 for an old game to wonder what the hype is about. Thankfully, Square Enix has released Chrono Trigger quite a few times. Physically, it was ported to the PS1 and DS with additional features added for each release. The PS1 version was later released on PlayStation Network, the Super Nintendo version on Virtual Console, and there was also some not-so-great mobile ports as well. This means you can legally play Chrono Trigger with a $20 PS1 and a $20 copy of the game. Or if you have a PS3, you can just download it. The same with the Wii. Call of Duty 4, on the other hand, still has its multiplayer servers up, costs $1 or $2 at a used game store, and can be played on a used 360 that can be found cheap at any pawn shop. This remaster wouldn't have been pointless if its multiplayer wasn't a laggy mess, but that's just what this game is right now. It's a laggy mess. Judging from YouTube comments, it seems like the same thing happens on the console versions as well. Even the Master Chief Collection did a better job at remastering the Halo series than this. The Master Chief Collection at least reused the same engine for the remastered single players, and it featured all of the original multiplayer titles. Its problem was that they just weren't very good ports. Modern Warfare Remastered's netcode, on the other hand, makes this game go from being just a mediocre remake or port to an unplayable train wreck. Avoid this game. Trust me, even when it's on sale with all the lag issues, it's not worth it. Go play the original. That's all that needs to be said. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.